So chances are you saw the devastation on part of the country, the Atlantic part of the country, this weekend from Hurricane Fiona. I mean, I was sitting there watching some of these reports, Natasha, watching homes literally be taken into the sea. It was remarkable to watch. Now, we knew this was coming. Residents, I want to say, had been prepared, but I don't think even with the warnings could have possibly been prepared for anything as crazy as this was over the weekend. Peter Harrison is morning host at Move 100 in Halifax. He's on the line right now. Peter, thanks for the time today.
My pleasure, no problem.
So let me ask you, you're in Halifax. What warnings did you have before Fiona showed up? What were people expecting?
You know, I mean, we were talking about it probably a week before Fiona landed on Saturday morning, and you were saying that maybe we weren't ready for the devastation. And no, I don't think anybody's ever ready. But as it was getting closer and closer to Friday, we knew it was going to start Friday night. We knew it was going to hit Nova Scotia. But in particular, I remember one moment when I realized, oh boy, this is something that we haven't seen before for sure, was when I started seeing the American networks at CNN, Fox, start covering this. CNN told me that this was going to be the biggest storm Canada had ever had, and I thought, okay, we better buckle down here because this is going to be unlike anything we've ever seen before.
And indeed, it has been absolutely terrifying to see the footage. So I can't imagine what it would be like to be there living it firsthand, Peter. Just out of curiosity, I understand that people were told to be prepared for 72 hours, and we're reaching the end of that. But give us a little bit of an idea what goes into preparing. Like, were people boarding up windows? Were you stocking up on bottled water, generators? I don't know. What happens in that time?
Well, I came in about 5 minutes ago from filling up the generator that's still outside my house. So, yeah, we were prepared for that. Having enough gas in our car, cash in our wallet, water and food that we didn't have to keep cold. But I am lucky enough, as many people are, we've gone through this before, to have a generator. Not everybody has one, but we do. So we were able to make sure that the fridge was running, the freezer was running. Now it's a matter of making sure that there's gas to put in the generator, because power outages are still a big problem and will be for a few days. My power is supposed to be back on, the best estimate, Wednesday night at 11. So a number of service stations are still without power, and those that have power are having a real run on gas. So some are running low or don't have any gas at all. That's kind of fixing itself as more and more people get their power back. But still, when I last looked, there were 170,000 customers in Nova Scotia. That's homes and businesses without power. There are only 505,000 customers in total. So that's a pretty good portion of the population that's still without any lights and in some case heat.
So you're in Halifax. Now, we've seen stories, Cape Breton, different places in PEI as well, and Charlottetown getting really, really hit. How bad did Halifax end up getting it?
Honestly, we got off easy compared to most other parts of Atlantic Canada. Prince Edward Island, as you probably heard, was hit really hard. Still, this afternoon, 90% of the population without power there. Newfoundland, like they've never seen before, not in anyone's lifetime who's still around. And Cape Breton got hit very, very hard as well. In Halifax, it's a lot of down trees. It's a lot of down wires, lights at intersections that still aren't working. Police are still asking people to stay off the road. For some people, the work was called off for them, but other people still had to get to work. So, and then to top it all off, we had lightning and thunder and rain this morning during our version of rush hour that caused flash floods.
Oh, no.
So it continues. It's extreme weather after extreme weather. But back to the question, Halifax got off pretty easy in all of this. And, we consider ourselves very lucky. Having said that, again, the inconvenience, if you will, of being without power is still something that a lot of people are experiencing. Large swaths of the city in Halifax and Dartmouth still waiting to to get back online.
With respect to what's still to come, Natasha talked about this being a 72-hour event. I mean, the worst obviously is over, but how bad does it remain from those parts, not necessarily even Halifax, but from what you've heard for the other parts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time that before anything's going to be. I mean, it'll be back to more or less normal within a week or 2 weeks, but there are pieces of roads that are completely washed out, 20-foot gaps in the road in some cases in Cape Breton. There are, as you said, homes in Newfoundland. There are homes and cottages here in Nova Scotia that were swept out as well. Those cottages, homes, may be rebuilt, maybe not. Maybe it never gets back to exactly the way it was. The sad part is as well, or the scary part is, you know, this is one of those once-in-a-lifetime events, but chances are, with the way the climate is changing, we will see another once-in-a-lifetime event within the next 15 to 20 years sometime. So normal, getting back to normal, I'm not sure that it ever will for some people, but for most of us, it'll be pretty close in a couple of weeks.
Peter, talk to us a little bit along those lines of what's going on with climate change. Talk to us a little bit about the spirit of Easterners right now. Like, is there a sense of frustration that more wasn't done leading up to this to be ready for it, or preventative measures to try and prevent climate change? Where are people's heads at, or are they really just in the I need power and food and water right now?
That latter part. That's what we need right now, and I'm not sure that that's a conversation for down the road as far as why is it raining that much more? Why are the storms that much worse? That's a conversation for down the road. I don't think anyone has stopped to even consider whether this is as a result of climate change. But the severity, to see more and more storms coming like this, of course it's connected. But why wasn't more done? No, I'm sure most people will sit back and just kind of, in frustration, if they're thinking along those lines, and realize that we seem to be on a path that's pretty hard to turn around.
I'm going to guess it's too soon now. You're still dealing with the aftermath barely. Has there been finger pointing already? People saying, wait a sec, we knew this was coming. As you said, you started hearing talk about this a week ago, and people being, sort of pointed out to say, why didn't we do more? Why weren't we better protected? Or is that not part of the conversation right now?
It really isn't. I mean, we didn't know where it was going to hit as hard as it was. The path stayed pretty much where the meteorologist said it would, but it ended up hitting east of where the original target was, if you will, of the path of this hurricane. So how can you prepare? How can you get ready if you never know exactly where it's going to land? People who have lost these cottages and homes on the north shore of Nova Scotia, they did everything that they could to make sure that their shoreline didn't erode any further. They spent a lot of money personally getting those large rocks put up to shore the shoreline from what would be any kind of storm surge in normal terms. But you can't really prepare yourself for, maximum 155 millimeters of rain that fell on Sable Island in that case, or waves in the Atlantic. The highest one, again, this didn't hit the shore, but if you happen to be out there in the water, the waves were, in some cases, 90 feet high. That was the highest recorded wave. Wow. You can't prepare.
Yeah. You can't.
For that sort of thing.
90 feet. Wow.
Just before we let you go, I'm sure you've seen and heard many stories of people coming together. We've heard so much about that. I mean, we know about Easterners, the reputation that you have for being so kind and friendly and helpful. Are you seeing that? People coming together?
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing that. There's a tweet this morning that talked about an old lady, an elderly woman, running up to the Nova Scotia Power Crews with 3 Tupperwares full of sweets, and saying, thank you, and handing them out there. And one quick story, I mean, we all come together around these events, but we had a quick end of the driveway meeting with one of our neighbors. This was Saturday night, I guess it was. And, we'd spent the better part of the afternoon starting to clean up. And we said, well, come on over. We'll have pizza in the backyard. We've got a propane-fired pizza oven. And so the neighbors came over. They brought their kids. We had a bottle of wine. We had pizza. And we got to know each other a little bit better. They just have moved in the past year. And as we were sitting in the backyard, at that point, it had become dark, and we had flashlights, and we were finishing up the rest of the pizza. And we noticed the house next door, it had lights, and I could hear a generator. I thought, well, I didn't know he had a generator. End of the night, we walked down the steps, and we had flashlights, and we walked them down to the end of the driveway, only to see that it wasn't a generator, and he didn't have a generator. All the rest of the street had their power back on, and we didn't know it, except for our house and their house. We're the only two houses on the street without power.
Great story. Hey, I want to thank you so much, Peter, for taking the time today. Wish you and everyone else out there in Halifax and everywhere else in Atlantic Canada all the best. As you said, we understand and realize it may take a while to get back to what we call normal, but we're all in this together. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much for having me.
You bet. Peter Harrison out at Move 100, the radio station in Halifax.